This video is going to end when I find my next 5-star read. It could be a week from now, it could be a month from now, who really knows. I am very, very excited to just see what the heck my next 5-star is gonna be, because I've only had one so far this year and I need a new one, basically. Let's jump right in and start with a romance novel first. So it is going to be A Love Song for Ricky Wilde by Tia Williams. Alright y'all, it's a little bit later, same day, and I'm now 75% through this book and I am enjoying it, but I know it's not going to be a 5-star. I feel like I knew going into it too that it wasn't going to be a 5-star, or at least I didn't like anticipate it being a 5-star. With that being said though, I still am very much enjoying it. It's basically a romance with like a touch of magical realism, which I don't think I've really ever read a book like this. So it is very interesting and pretty unique. Not a 5-star though, so I'm probably gonna finish that up tonight, hopefully, if not then tomorrow. But I'm turning on the camera because I actually want to do another little cozy activity that I haven't done in a long time. So I think I'm gonna clear my table here and get out my markers and my coloring book, and then I have my headphones here, so I think I'm gonna listen to my audiobook that I'm currently listening to, and that is Us Against You by Frederick Bachman, which is book 2 in the Beartown trilogy, because there's 3 books. In this book, I'm about 47%, so almost 50% through. And when I started making this video, I totally forgot I was like listening to this book, and the first book in this series was like a 4.5 star for me. I feel like right immediately as I finished it, I rated it 5 stars, but then I kind of waited till the next day and I was like, okay, I don't think it is a 5-star. I think I just was like very satisfied and happy at the end of it. So I rated it 5 and then I bumped it down to a 4.5. So maybe this will be a 5-star, I don't know. So far I am very much enjoying it. I just love it. The characters, the little town, like it's giving TV show, like the drama, the secrets, and I just like where it's heading. So yeah, I guess we'll kind of see, but I'm gonna color now for a bit and listen to that on audio. I don't remember the last time I colored. I just haven't done it in a long time. I feel like I've just been reading really with my free time and not coloring. But I have this coloring book. It's from Bobby Goods. It's like a little small business that I feel like I saw on TikTok like a year or 2 ago. I think it was 2 years at this point when I got this book. So I don't have and I haven't, like, I feel like when I first got it, I would like use it and I would color in it, but I haven't picked it up in a while. So I think total I have, let's see how many pages colored. 1, 2, 3, like, is this not the cutest scene ever? 4 and 5. Did I ever finish this one? Yeah, we'll call that finished. So we have 5 done, and there's so many freaking cute scenes. Like, are you serious? So I'm gonna just choose one and then we'll get to coloring. I don't know where I even got this from, but it's just like a cardboard piece that I slide under the page so that the markers like don't go through. And these are the markers that I'm using. I think I got like a bunch from Amazon, and this is actually my 2nd or 3rd pack from Amazon, because the first ones that I got were like just too dark, and these, I don't know if you can tell, but they're more like pastel, so they make the coloring like actually really pretty and aesthetic. So these are the ones I have. Oh, and I think I have a little like notebook where I actually like swatched all of these so that I know exactly what the shade is going to look like. Okay, here it is. Yeah, I like kind of took a sticker, swatched them all, and then I have all the different colors on here. That way I know exactly what I want to color with. morning. I have a little bit of an update. Yesterday or last night, I did end up finishing A Love Song for Ricky Wilde, and I settled on a 3.5 star rating, which is still good. I still enjoyed the book. I would say I would recommend it if romance with a touch of magical realism, you're into like music, New York setting. If those things sound very interesting to you, then I think you guys would love it, and I do recommend it. It did give me some vibes of like The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue in those senses of magical realism. So regardless, I still enjoyed it, and it was a really quick read. I read it in a day, so not bad at all, just not the 5 star that we were looking for. But since I finished that last night, I did have time to start a new book, and I picked up this one, First Time Caller by B.K. Borison. And I've heard so much about this book. It's so funny because last year when I was building my like 25 books for 2025 list, I ran into this one because I just love the cover. I'm like one of the rare souls who has not read a book by this author yet, so I didn't really know who she was, and I saw the cover and I was like, this is so cute, like I'm gonna add that to my list. So I added it to my list, and then I was on NetGalley a few weeks later, requested the book because I obviously wanted to read it, got denied, and was like, dang, that sucks. And then I just saw it on like Book of the Month, and so many people are reading it, so I was like, okay, it's a sign, like I just have to read it. So I picked it up last night. I'm only this much in, so it's still very much the beginning of the book, but this is a romance about Aiden and Lucy. So Aiden owns like a talk show. He's a radio talk show host, and Lucy's daughter Maya calls in without Lucy knowing to get like information and dating advice from Aiden for her mom, Lucy. Are you following? And so then Lucy like gets on the phone and starts talking to Aiden, and that's really all that I have read. So far I am intrigued. I feel like it is a little long for a romance. It's right around 400 pages, but I mean, that's nothing crazy. So I'm gonna be reading this, and we'll see how I feel about it later on. So again, I have heard really good things, and I do love me a romance. The cover, she's so beautiful. Also, just because I remembered, I was also drawing or coloring yesterday while listening to Us Against You by Frederick Bachman. I'm about 57% into that book now, so a little bit more than halfway. And again, still loving it, still love all the characters. I like the story, I like where it's going. I think we're going to get to a very pivotal part in the story. And I think this one follows a very similar structure to the first book, Beartown, where like we kind of get to know our community, our new characters, people, and then something big happens. I kind of have to deal with what happened, and the different people take sides, and they have to figure out how to move forward. So I think this one, or not this one, but Us Against You, we're definitely going to see that as well, where we're kind of still in the buildup of the story, even though we're about 50% through the book. Is it going to be a 5 star? I don't know. Boy, do I have an update for y'all. So I'm not currently home right now. That's why my background's a little different, but I am now 66% into this book, First Time Caller, and it's really been surprising me. I've really been liking it. I feel like it's the perfect amount of slow burn, the romance, the banter, the flirting. Like, I'm not sure which character I want to be more, Lucy or Aiden, because they're just both so witty and quick, and you can just tell they are developing like this, not love for each other, but definitely like care for each other. Like they just want what's best for the other. So I'm very much enjoying this. Like I didn't think I would enjoy it as much as I am currently. So is it gonna be a 5 star? Who knows? But honestly, anything is possible, so I guess we'll just end up seeing. But this would be really surprising to me if it were a 5 star, just because I did not expect it to be, but we'll just kind of see what goes on there. Still reading Us Against You by Beartown by Frederick Bachman, book 2 in the Beartown series, but I actually wanted to let you guys know that I guess restarted reading Keeping 13 from Boys of Tommen, book number 2. I started this earlier this year, and I soft DNF'd it because I was at like 24% into the book for like over a month, and I just wasn't making any progress, and I just wasn't picking it up. So I was like, this is definitely not the right time for this book. So I soft DNF'd it for a while, and then I picked it up I think 2 nights ago, because on our way here we had to drive like 3 hours. So my partner was driving and I was just like sitting in the passenger seat, and I had my Kindle and it was dark, so I wasn't able to read this. But again, I had my Kindle, so I kind of open that book up again, and now I'm 52 or 53% into it, and I feel like I've definitely gotten over the hump of like the exposition and kind of like the beginning conflict, and now I'm more into like the relationship stuff, what is happening, the barriers, and I'm very much more invested now than I was at the beginning. So yeah, couple of books that I'm currently reading, 3, and then I have DNF'd Daydream. I don't know if I've mentioned that in this video, but yeah, I was reading Daydream by Hannah Grace. I'm 58% into that one, so almost 60%, and I just like feel like I'm dragging myself through it. I feel like nothing is happening. That's definitely not going to be a 5-star, so I don't even know if I'm going to bring it up again in this video or even finish reading it. But I just kind of wanted to do a little recap of everything that I'm currently reading. But for sure, this one, Us Against You, and Daydream are the 3 books that I'm sort of like committed to right now. Sorry if it's like a little all over the place and a little confusing, but I'm just the type who likes to read like multiple books at once. And it just so happens that this one is my physical one, Us Against You is on audiobook, and then Keeping 13 is on my Kindle. So I have like a digital, audio, and physical version all at the same time. This is a great read for the month of October. Of February. It's just so like romantic. When you think of romantic, it's this. It's also very realistic. Like, I like the conflicts that are in here. I think they're just very much something that would happen in real life. And yeah, the author's writing, like the writing itself, the storytelling, it's really, really good. Definitely very impressed. I have not found a 5-star read yet. Just tonight, I actually finished Daydream by Hannah Grace, and I think yesterday or last night, I finished First Time Caller by B.K. Borson. Now, this one, I ended up rating it 3.75 stars, I think, is what I settled on, and it was almost disappointing because halfway through the book, I could have sworn this would have been at least like a 4.25, if not higher, just because I was really vibing with the characters, with the romance, the flirting, the chemistry, like it was all there for me. And then maybe like the last 20% of the book, I really just found myself not liking it. I feel like Aiden not gave me the ick, but I just feel like some of the things he was doing and the things he was thinking were just a little icky. Like, I feel like he needed therapy, and I feel like by the end of it, I just kind of walked away thinking Lucy deserved better, and I feel like she was gonna kind of be put in a role where she had to like fix him, which is like terrible, and to me that doesn't scream romance. So this was not a 5-star read. I did still really enjoy it though, majority of the time, and I will be continuing the series, to be honest, but unfortunately not a 5-star read. The video will continue. And then let me just talk about this book real quick, which I feel like I have a hair in my mouth. Okay, anyway, this one I ended up rating 2.5 stars, which is really not a good rating, and I think it's the lowest rating I've given all year. This is the lowest rated Hannah Grace book that I've ever rated or read, and honestly, I think it just wasn't for me. I just found it kind of really boring, and like nothing was happening up to 60%, and honestly, at the end of the day, I just feel like Hallie or Haley, I don't know how you say her name, but her and Henry, I feel like are great characters, great people, but I don't know, I feel like they would have been better with different people. Like, I just didn't like the way this romance was structured, really. To me, I didn't really buy their relationship, and I soft DNF'd it for like half of the month, and then I just now picked it up, finished it, because I needed it to be done. Like, I wasn't gonna let this be the only Hannah Grace book I hadn't finished, so it's done now. It gets to sit on the shelf, but it just wasn't my favorite. I wouldn't say I recommend it, but I wouldn't want to say don't read it. I think it just wasn't for me. That's just a quick update with the reads that I'm having right now. I'm actually gonna go to bed soon because it's probably like 10:30 p.m. So I just wanted to quickly update you guys. We have not found a 5-star read yet, so the search continues. Hi y'all, so back to update with reading updates, and we are still trying to find my next 5-star read, and it hasn't happened yet. I don't remember the last book I talked about on here. I don't know if I mentioned that I finished Daydream. I think I did. Rated it 2.5 stars, not my favorite. If I didn't talk about it, I'll say that here now. 2.5 stars, not a 5-star read, so I'm not gonna waste more time talking about that book. But I also finished up Us Against You by Frederick Bachman. This book was so strong, so realistic. I swear these characters feel so real. I did get a little emotional actually towards the end. I have a different video where I was reading that book, and you can definitely see me like start to tear up because it was a gut punch. I ended up rating this 4.5 stars, so not necessarily 5 stars. And I will say, I feel like the reason it wasn't a 5-star was because I wasn't completely invested the entire time, which if I'm gonna give a book 5 stars, like I need it to be almost perfect for me. And honestly, I strongly believe the next book in this series, which is the final book in the Beartown series, will most likely be a 5-star read. But I don't think I'm going to start that anytime soon just because winter's coming to an end. That's a very big, first of all, it's a very chunky big book, and it's still very much like a winter book, so I think I want to save that for like later this year just to kind of wrap up that series. So I'm gonna skip on it for now, so I'm not going to be reading that. And then actually tonight I just finished another book, which was Five Survive by Holly Jackson. This is my first book ever by Holly Jackson. It's a YA thriller mystery, and I ended up rating this 4 stars, so still haven't found my 5-star read. Very good book, great page turner. There was a good amount of humor in it, even though the situation is kind of like crazy. And yeah, I don't know, I just found the premise to be really entertaining, very interesting, a bit unique, and I will definitely consider reading more Holly Jackson in the future. But with that being said, not a 5-star read. I am simultaneously, well, I just finished that, but I'm also reading The Wedding People, not too far into this one, about maybe 50 pages exactly into it. Contemporary fiction book, deals with some pretty heavy topics. I am really liking it so far, but I'm only 50 pages in, so I can't really say whether or not it'll be a 5-star read, but for now, I am very much enjoying this. I don't know what I'm gonna pick up next. I am thinking of picking up, let me just bring it. This book right here, Caraval by Stephanie Garber. Never read a book by this author either. I think this is like a YA fantasy book, which is really not the type of genre I usually read, but this one is just, I don't know, the cover is like so enticing. It's been around for a while, has had a good amount of hype, and it sounds very interesting. It's also on my March TBR, so why not? So I'm considering picking this one up. I don't know if I'm going to start it tonight. If anything, I think I will just continue reading The Wedding People, but I think these are the ones that are like on my radar next that are going to be tested against the title of this video. See if these are going to be my next 5-star reads. Who knows? Hello, I wanted to update real quick on my reading journey for Caraval. Sorry about the finger. I literally sliced my finger today cutting bread, which sucks. But anyway, I'm really enjoying this. This is YA fantasy, so definitely not my typical genre, and not one that I'm not even gonna lie, not one that I thought I would like really even love or even consider being a 5-star, but right now, I'm loving it. Not so much like emotionally, because not much is going on in terms of that, but the action, the imagination and creativity that this book has is beautiful. The pacing I think so far is super great. I'm so intrigued. This is about Scarlett and Donatella, who are sisters, and they get an invitation to go to this island of Caraval, which comes around every so often, like once a year or something like that. And the grand prize for the Caraval festival is one wish. So whoever wins gets the one wish. And already in the land of Caraval, things are not what they seem to be. There's like people who are like fake, but also not who they tell you they are. There's things going on that are very sketchy, and we just don't really know what's going on. But I really, really like that mysterious type of aspect. I feel like it's keeping the story going. And I really like Scarlett. She's the main character. Her sister Donatella right now is nowhere to be found. And their relationship is very interesting, as well as their relationship with their father. So I think there's just so many aspects to this that literally has me so hooked, and I'm so impressed because first Stephanie Garber book ever, first really YA fantasy that's this like imaginative. I feel like I've read maybe literally one or two other YA fantasies, if anything maybe like Powerless. I don't know if that's super YA though, but this one is just hitting so far. I'm 146 pages in, so not quite at the halfway point yet, but I'm doing damage. I started this last night and I haven't been able to put it down, even though I've been kind of busy like the last 24 hours. So this is really what I've read when I've had time to read it. Right now I have some time. I was just playing a new video game that just came out. If you guys ever played It Takes Two, it's like a 2-player game. So me and my partner will play, and the creators came out with a new game today. And so I was just playing that, but now I think I'm gonna take a break and go back into Caraval because this just has me so entertained and I'm very much enjoying it. So I just wanted to bring it up because I don't know if it's gonna be a 5-star. That would really blow my mind. I am really liking it right now. My last 5-star was The Favorites, and it's somewhere over there on that bookshelf. So that was in January. We're in March now. Well, we need a new 5-star. So is this gonna do the trick? I don't know, but we'll see. By the way, and so far, no complaints. I just finished Caraval and I definitely have some thoughts, but I do want to say I absolutely loved this book, which really takes me by surprise because it is a YA fantasy and not something that I typically feel like I go towards, but I am so surprised by this world, these characters. I love them. I will share more of my thoughts tomorrow, I think, once I've kind of gotten to sleep on them, but why have I never read this before? This was phenomenal. This world is crazy. I need the next book, Legendary, right now. Honestly, this feels like a 5-star read. It wasn't incredibly emotional, and I feel like usually when I decide that a book is 5 stars, it's because I'm super attached to it and have some sort of emotional connection, but this is just so much fun and what you want a book to be. The characters, the world building, the plot, everything. This is just so good. I'm so surprised. I will chat more about this tomorrow. Hello. Let me fix you guys up and bring you down here a little more. I think you're a little crooked too. Okay, is that better? Okay, I think that's better. Anyway, here to talk about my recent 5-star read. I think it's official. I think we found our 5-star read in this video, and I think it's Caraval by Stephanie Garber. This is my first ever Stephanie Garber book, and honestly, it just took me by surprise. It was such a roller coaster, and it was all ups. Honestly, it was so fun. It was just awesome to really get to picture a whole beautiful world like this. I've read fantasy before. I read Game of Thrones. I've read The Powerless, duology. For now, it's gonna be a trilogy, I think. But honestly, none of that has hit like this one has. This one's world is just so special. I feel like it's something that you would definitely create in your head as oh, what would a nice fun world look like, freaking based in a carnival sort of setting, and this is it. I loved the language and sort of just prose that the author herself used in this book. I feel like it flowed really well and it was really easy to picture and digest. Loved our characters. I loved the problems that they had, and I will say they were smarter than me because their solutions I wouldn't even have thought of, or I would have been so confused the entire time I was at Caraval because none of it made sense to me, but once they kind of gave us the solutions, I understood. So really liked that. I've already purchased the next 2 books. I cannot wait to continue this series. Leave some more YA fantasy recommendations because I think this is my first true YA fantasy book, and I just absolutely loved it. With that being said, it didn't even feel completely YA. There was still a good amount of adult relationships and just adult topics that were discussed that I really enjoyed, and it didn't feel at all teenagers or adolescents kind of doing this little journey. So I really appreciated that. Really loved this book. Also, complete side note, but I know I mentioned The Favorites by Lane Fargo is my only 5-star read of the year, but I think Reckless is also up there by Elsie Silver. So I think this is gonna be my third 5-star of the year. I loved it. I don't know what else to say. Very big fan. I hope you guys enjoyed this video.